Hey everyone, well, welcome back to Coach Cruise. Once again, I'm your host, Brad, and today I'm going to be talking about a couple topics that were addressed in the latest Carnival Cruise news dump, courtesy of Carnival Ambassador John Heald. One of the things he discussed was clothing optional discussion on the Serenity deck. And I'm not going to say too much more about that, but everybody knows what clothing optional means. So you'll hear what John has to say about if that's a possibility on Carnival. Also, something that is definitely a possibility and has happened, unfortunately or fortunately, depending upon your viewpoint, Quest has been canceled or is not being offered on some Carnival ships. He's going to discuss the reasons why. And after he does that, I will come back and give you my opinions on those two if you care to hear them. And so without any further ado, after the intro, let's hear from John.
Cruise Coach! Yeah! How are you, baby?
I just can't get away from a good time.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Wherever you're watching in this wonderful world, I hope you're taking great care of yourselves and looking after each other. I mentioned that yesterday that we wouldn't make the Serenity clothing optional decks, and a lovely lady wrote to me and thought that I was body shaming people by doing that, by saying that people couldn't sunbathe naked on Serenity deck was perhaps body shaming. My answer is, how could I ever do that? So, do you remember last week that when I spoke about this, we talked about some of the guide dogs, the seeing eye dogs who were sailing on one of the ships, Carnival Celebration, and how honoured we were to have them on board. It caused a little bit of 2 or 3 people were not very happy with me, and I understand that. Listen, when you have 600,000 people following you, you're never going to be pleasing all of them all the time. That's absolutely impossible. It's never going to happen. But they are having a brilliant time, the blind guests, and they are totally blind and reliant totally on these dogs. And there were thousands of comments, I mean literally thousands, and I wanted just to choose one. And at the beginning of every live video I always do a shout out to one particular person. I can only choose one person, and I try and make that person. Last week we had somebody who was celebrating, I think was it their 68th or 70th wedding anniversary, something incredible. Each week I try and do a shout out, and today I'd like to say hello to Marcus. And Marcus wrote to me. He was one of the many comments, and I thought that I would read his comment about dogs, service dogs on the ship. And I think after you've heard this comment from him, then you won't need me to say anything else. So let's just have a little readout. And Marcus, good morning to you. Marcus is from Albany in New York, I think that is. Is Albany in New York? I think it is. Anyway, hello to Marcus in Albany. And if it's not in New York, wherever that Albany is, hello to you. Marcus is writing this. Hello, John. I'm 38 years old and I would like to share my story with you. I have seizures most weeks, sometimes 3 or 4 times a week, as a result of epilepsy triggered by a brain injury I suffered in a car accident in 2017. My seizures have led to other injuries. I suffered serious burns after collapsing while at the stove. The hot pan of pasta fell on my leg while I had a seizure, and I've had to have 2 skin grafts. I became a prisoner in my own home. I just stayed in all the time because I was worried about embarrassing myself or my wife and son and making myself a problem to them. In 2021, My life was transformed by the arrival of Murphy, a golden Labrador Retriever cross. Murphy alerts me when exactly 20 minutes away from having a seizure, and he is right every time. His accuracy gives me reassurance and now means I'm able to go out more, see friends and have a full life, knowing that I have time to get home or to a safe place such as my car if Murphy alerts that I will be having a seizure soon. Murphy will then stay with me throughout. I'm telling you this, John, because I recently cruised. It was on the Sunrise for 5 days. Your crew were amazing. Most of the passengers were kind. Some were not and looked at me like I should not be there with my dog. One day I was sitting in the restaurant on the ship with my wife and son and with Murphy under the table, full stop. A lady came over and complained about a dog being in there with food being served. She said we had to leave, that I should not be in the restaurant with Murphy. The restaurant manager came to ask the lady to return to her table. She did so, screaming and shouting at me. My hope is that more people will understand that people with dogs on a cruise are not faking it. Yes, this is what I read from some of the replies to your post yesterday about service dogs on a cruise. This really did make me angry. When I cruise again, I hope passengers will know that service dogs are people watchers. They're just focused on their owners and the person they are supporting, and they enjoy it and they get rewarded for it. They will never bother anyone. Well, first of all, you have to look at this from the extraordinary and remarkable angle that a dog can sense through smell that Marcus is going to be having a seizure 30 minutes before he does. I mean, that is just jaw-droppingly incredible, isn't it? Absolutely jaw-droppingly incredible. It really is. You know, listen, I know people have allergies and I respect that. I absolutely do. But taking aside that we are required under the American Disability Act to provide cruises for people with proper service animals, not emotional support dogs, but the fact that we are doing this is one thing, but the fact that this gentleman is now able to go out and go on a cruise is thanks to his friend with 4 legs. Murphy, this shout out is to you. Murphy, I hope you're watching this. Murphy, thank you for the wonderful love, care and life-saving things you do for Marcus. You are an extraordinary dog, and we are, as a cruise line, very proud to have you on board. And thank you, Marcus. I'm so glad that overall the passengers, you say, were kind, and of course the crew were as well. So thank you so much, and thank you, Jane, for helping that lady that I just saw the post go through. So that's the shout out for the day.
All right, so there we had it. John addressed those 2 topics, as I mentioned, and did we really think clothing optional was going to be an option on the Serenity deck or anywhere, any public area of Carnival? You know, I don't think any of us seriously thought that was going to be a possibility, right? And it's not. The person that was talking about body shaming, I mean, come on. I mean, you know, some people just, I don't know. I just don't get it.
Coach Cruz, like, subscribe, share. You know what to do. Carnival celebration.
Yes,
Now, the other thing that is of concern to many people is Quest. And, you know, I know John didn't explain that very well in the video, but it is definitely adult themed. It's not for the faint of heart. I will say that. If you are easily offended, then you are going to be offended going to this. So I'm going to save you the trouble. Just don't go to it. Okay. I'll give you a simple example. One of the more innocent scavenger things that they have you do, or contests they have you participate in. Let's just throw one out there. You could be in a group and you form your group. Your group could have as few as 4 people in it. It could have 40 people in it. And they give you a number. And then so all the groups, they have their number. You know, you could be number 1, you could be number 69, you could be number 42, whatever. They hand out all these numbers. And when your team has, whatever it is that they're asking for, you give it to the person that's going up there, and then you give them, your team's number. And then you run up there as quick as you can. You hold up the number, you hold up whatever the scavenger item is, or show and demonstrate that you're doing whatever the event host was asking for. So for example, let's take one. Let's say they say, okay, I need one male on your team to come up here wearing, a bra or something like that. And what you'll see, and this is the funny part of it, you will see women without hesitation, without thinking about it or whatever, just reaching under and taking off their bra and ripping it out and handing it to the closest guy on the team that will run up there. And you will see the guy without hesitation putting the bra on and running up there with the number and his woman's bra on. And like I said, it's a lot of fun if you're into that type of humor and fun. There's some stuff that's way beyond that, and there's also some stuff, like I said, that'll just have you shaking your head and opening your eyes real big and your jaw dropping real low because it's that type of event. So like I say, if it's that type of humor that you really enjoy and that type of fun, you will definitely have a lot of fun there. But sadly, as you heard John point out, there's some cruise directors that have said don't feel comfortable doing it or whatever, maybe because it's a little more risque. To John's point about people complaining about it or whatever that have gone to it, don't go. That makes no sense to me, right? Like, if I don't want to be around a bunch of kids or whatever, I might not go to the arcade. All right. If you don't want to be in an event that's very adult themed and very risque, and it says that on the Hub app, then why would you go? If that's going to be something. So that is not a reason for them to cancel the event or whatever. That's just a weak excuse, in my opinion. So that's all I have for you today. I wanted to cover those two things in particular. Now, John covered more, and I will share that also. More specific news events, I guess you could say, coming from Carnival. So if you would like to hear those, make sure you hit the like and subscribe button, hit that notification bell. We just hit 1 million views. Our channel hit 1 million views. Super pumped about that. We'll be going live on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern, 5 p.m. Pacific, depending on what your time zone is. So you're welcome to join us any Tuesday night, and we would love to have you and love to welcome you to the Coach Cruise family. That's all I got for you, and happy cruising.
Oh, YouTubers, check me. This is Cookie, your cruise director on the Carnival Horizon down in Miami, Florida. Trust me, number one, you want to follow this man's channel, Coach Cruise, because he's the absolute best coach out here, not about fitness, but about cruising. Trust me, he's going to make sure you have the best time ever because he knows the ins and outs of every cruise that you go on. So click that like, follow button, and share more about this brother right here. Not only is he my coach, but he's my cousin. We'll see you all on the next cruise. Until then, we're out of here.
All
Peace.
right.
I just can't get away from a good time.